Happy New Year. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
And Mr. Cabrera.
I'm here in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice requirements has been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County on October, is that right? October 4th?
Oh, I must have.
2020,
Oh, yeah. 24. Yep, I will amend that.
October 4th, 2024, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 13th, 2024. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is the door you came in, our front left, your back right, or just by the American flag. We just want to do a sound check. Mr. Kniff, are we good? We're streaming live here today on the borough's Facebook page and also the YouTube channel. Glad I got my hair done for this meeting.
Me too.
Not really. If you're watching this meeting and you want to make a public comment or statement, you're more than welcome to call the dial-in conference line. I'll repeat that number for you. That number is 888-363-4734. And when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. In the event you watch the recorded version of this meeting, you're going to, and if you have questions, you can email our clerk at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org, or you may phone her at 609-729-8040. I believe we have a lengthy agenda today. We're going to start with the ordinances. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. The first is ordinance 1442 regarding land use.
Motion that ordinance number 1442 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1442 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1442 reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending and supplementing the Land Development Ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, Chapter 85, Section 85-11, Definitions. Article 4, R-1, Low Density Residential Zone, Section 85-28, Area and Bulk Regulations. Article 5, R-1A, Semi-Low Density Residential Zone, Section 85-32, Area and Bulk Regulations. Article 7, R-2, Two-Family Residential Zone, Section 85-40, Area and Bulk Regulations, Section 85-69, Landscaping in all zones, Section 85-92, lots.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1442.
Second that.
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1442 now be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open. We'll start with anybody here in the audience with public comment on ordinance number 1442. Anybody? All right, we're going to go, bear with us while we're doing the construction on the bathrooms, the sound of progress, I'll call it. Anybody on the conference line have public comment on ordinance number 1442? Hearing none?
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1442 now be closed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1442 now be closed.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1442 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1442 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1443 regarding sidewalks.
Motion that ordinance number 1443 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1443 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1443 reads as follows. An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 63, Sidewalks, Curbs, and Alleyways of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest to require certain pervious materials between the curb and the outbound edge of the sidewalk.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1443.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1443 now be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for public comment. Ordinance number 1443, sidewalks. Anybody in the audience? Hearing none. Conference line, anybody have public comment on ordinance number 1443? Hearing none.
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1443 now be closed.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1443 now be closed.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1443 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1443 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1444, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending Section 85-82, Fences and Walls, Fence Permit Fee of Chapter 85 of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest Land Use Ordinance.
Motion that ordinance number 1444 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for a second and final reading and public hearing on January 22nd, 2025 at 5 p.m.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1444 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on January 22nd, 2025 at 5 p.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
All righty.
All right, this here's, you want to take a drink first?
Yeah, I do. That was good timing. Okay, so the first resolution is authorizing appointment of Ronald Galzunas as the Borough Solicitor and approval of professional services contract for calendar year 2025.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
The well-dressed Ron Galzunas, I might add. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. The next is authorizing signatories for various Borough of Wildwood Crest accounts.
I'll move it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is designating official newspapers.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is amending portions of Resolution Number 22-06, adopted January 4th, 2022. Resolution Number 22-113, adopted February 16th, 2022. Resolution Number 23-45, adopted January 4th, 2023. And Resolution Number 23-128, adopted April 5th, 2023, which designates the powers and duties of the various borough departments and assigning the powers and duties of each department and restating all powers and duties in entirety.
Before I make a motion, I have a question, if that's okay.
We have to motion
All
and
right.
second first, and
That's what I
then,
kind of thought. I'll motion it.
I'll second.
okay, now the floor's.
Okay, so reading through this on Section 5, Department of Public Affairs, I see that code enforcement is going to move over to Mr. Franco's department. I'd like to vote no on that and yes on everything else, if I could.
So, you want to take it?
Now, Commissioner, you'd have to vote yes or no on the whole resolution, but you can make a motion to amend.
Okay, I'll make that
Need a
motion.
Second, or
I'll make that motion to amend it.
Wait, so I'll make sure I understand what we're doing. We're going to take a resolution that clarifies the duties of the governing body members and put one out separately, and then have the other, I guess, this one that's in front of us, have the code duties that you're referencing moved out of this one. That will be a separate resolution, and then this one stands as is, which makes no sense to me, I'm just being honest.
Okay, then I will vote no.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so roll call. Mr. Schiff, no.
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera?
Yes.
Next is authorizing adoption of the calendar year 2025 temporary budget.
Motion?
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera?
Yes.
And I can probably do the next 6 through 13 as consent agenda, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Fine.
Okay, the first is adopting the 2025 cash management plan of the Borough of Wildwood Crest. The next is designating Jason Hesley to represent the Borough of Wildwood Crest with tax appeals for calendar year 2025. The next is authorizing the interest rate, grace period, and year-end penalty for taxes, sewer fees in calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing cancellation of 2024 tax and/or sewer balances of $5 or less. Next is authorizing the tax collector to conduct a tax title lien sale in calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing the appointment of Matthew Rooney as municipal prosecutor for the Borough of Wildwood Crest. The next is authorizing the appointment of Seth Fussolaro as municipal public defender for the Borough of Wildwood Crest. And lastly is authorizing a professional services contract with William G. Blaney Esquire as special labor counsel for calendar year 2025.
I'll motion by consensus.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolutions be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a professional services contract with Robert Belasco for legal services for the Planning Board for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $25,000.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Abstain.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay, 15 through 19 by consent. The first is authorizing award of contract to Animal Control of South Jersey for animal control services in the Borough of Wildwood Crest for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $9,600. The next is authorizing a professional services contract with Stephen Sequeir for services as hearing officer for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $9,500. Next is authorizing a professional services contract with Michael A. Jedziniak of Hill Wallach LLP as special counsel for COA-related matters for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000. Next is authorizing a professional services contract with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood LLP as bond counsel for calendar year 2025. And lastly is authorizing a professional services contract with Danziger and Markoff LLP for actuarial services for fiscal year ending 2024 at the not-to-exceed sum of $3,800.
I'll motion by consensus.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolutions be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of EUS contract with Contemporary Technology, Inc. for network support information technology specialist at the not-to-exceed sum of $91,000 for calendar year 2025, $59,000 for municipal IT, and $32,000 for public safety IT.
I'll motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Abstain.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
All right, 21 through 28 by consent. The first is authorizing professional services contract with Mark de Blasio of de Blasio and Associates as municipal engineer for calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing a professional services contract with Ford Scott and Associates LLC as borough auditor for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $40,000. Next is authorizing award of professional services contract with Scott Taylor of Taylor Design Group to perform services as planning board planner for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $9,500. The next is a professional services contract with Acuity Consulting Services for affordable housing planner and administrative agent for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $15,500. Next is authorizing a professional services contract with J. Byrne Agency as risk management consultant, ACM Joint Insurance Fund for calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing a professional services contract with Phoenix Advisors as SEC Continuing Disclosure Specialist for calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing a professional services contract to Justin White of Testa, Heck, Testa, and White as Conflict Special Labor Counsel, calendar year 2025, at the not-to-exceed sum of $2,500. And lastly is authorizing a professional services contract to Avery Teitler as Conflict Solicitor for the Borough of Wildwood Crest Planning Board for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $9,500.
I'll move by consensus.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of contract to Square One Design for website hosting management and consultation for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $6,750.
All motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Abstain.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
And the next I can fly through by consent, if that's all right. First, we have award of contract to Pogue Safety and Health Consortium for alcohol and drug training testing for CDL operators for calendar year 2025. The next is a professional services contract with James Malley of Malley Givens for special counsel for land use redevelopment for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $15,000. Next is authorizing a contract with Triad Associates for consulting and application services for funding opportunities for calendar year 2025. The next is a professional services contract with Christopher Winter as a law enforcement consultant specializing in police accreditation for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000. Next is a contract with James M. Brutala Associates, LLC, for consulting and application services for funding opportunities for calendar year 2025 and flood prevention applications at the not-to-exceed sum of $15,000. Next is a professional services contract to the Lomax Group for specialized engineering and environmental consulting services in conjunction with the Green Team Community Forestry Consultation Services, Part 1, at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000. The next is also to the Lomax Group for specialized engineering and environmental consulting services in conjunction with beach and dune maintenance annual permit conditions compliance and sand management consultation, Part 3, at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,980. Next is authorizing the appointment of Patrick Martin as municipal conflict prosecutor for the Borough of Wildwood Crest for calendar year 2025. Next is appointment of Charles W. Sandman III as municipal conflict public defender for the Borough of Wildwood Crest for calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing contracts with certain approved state and national contract vendors for calendar year 2025. Next is authorizing Francine Springer and Alexa Campolango to continue as custodians of petty cash for the Wildwood Crest administrative offices for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $250. Next is authorizing Robert Lloyd to continue as custodian of petty cash for the Wildwood Crest Police Department for calendar year 2025 at the not-to-exceed sum of $200. Next is authorizing the Wildwood Crest Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program to enable the Wildwood Crest Police Department to request and acquire excess Department of Defense equipment. Next is granting an adjusted 2024 sewer bill for property located at 6608-10 Atlantic Avenue. Next is authorizing expenditure to purchase installation of HVAC system at Crest Pier building contract under the ESC&J Cooperative Purchasing Program. Next is authorizing a shared services agreement between the Borough of Wildwood Crest and the Wildwood Crest School District for snow removal and plowing of parking lots. And lastly, designating Tara Rosenberg as contact person and Francine B. Springer as additional contact person for the ACM GIF Employment Practices Liability Hotline.
Make a motion by consensus. Thank you,
course.
Trish. That was a lot.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolutions be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
There's no bills.
Motion-
There are no bills. We
Oh.
haven't. Yep,
Well, then, thank you, Trish.
of course.
Okay, that brings us to correspondence. We have none listed. We'll go to public comments here in a second. As we do public comments, if anybody has anything, we just need your name. Do not need your address. But I want to invite our special guest here today from Cape May County, Commissioners Bulikowski and Barr, for any comments they would like to make here today.
Good afternoon, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, get ahead of myself. Happy New Year to all of you, mayor, council members, and members of the public. We just want to join with you today, and as we welcome the new year, share a sense of optimism from the county. We are here to partner with you. We are here to work with you. We are all in this together to make Wildwood Crest and Cape May County the place that it is, the place that it will be, and we are in store for a fantastic future on all fronts. And we wish you the absolute best in 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bolton.
What he said. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. It's an honor to be here. Commissioner Director Desiderio would have liked to have been here, but he had a scheduling conflict as we have our own reorg this afternoon at 3:30. But I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I see our first responders, police. Thank you for everything that you do. Please remain safe. We appreciate all your hard work. And to the citizens, as Commissioner Barr said, we definitely are in this together. The Commissioner Director has instituted the meeting of the mayors that we do and has shown a willingness to work with all of the 16 municipalities, not only Wildwood Crest, but you all have a gem down here, and we're proud to have you as a part of our county. So good luck to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will say for the record, so as far from my standpoint, our partnership, our relationship with Cape May County has been great. They've been very helpful, from everything from the open space projects to some of our planning projects and initiatives to some infrastructure projects. So it's been nothing but good, and if it's good for Wildwood Crest, it's good for all of our taxpayers. So thank you on behalf of Wildwood Crest to Cape May County. And I do have a couple requests I'll be making in the new year here shortly, but I'll reach out to you when the time is right. All right.
Get your checkbook ready.
Get your checkbook.
We're here from the government. We're here to help.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, that moves us right to public comments, and we'll start with anybody here in the audience. If anyone has any comments, just need your name. Come on up to the podium. Anybody? All right, we're going to go right to the conference line. Does anybody have any public comments? Okay, so there's a second round coming up here in a little bit, so we're going to go right to the discussion items. There's nothing listed under new business. I'll just touch briefly on under old business. Concession agreement, hotel zone and beach chairs is on hold. Potential swim run event 2024. It's further discussion that's coming. Actually, that should say 2025.
Yeah.
2025. Traffic calming, we're waiting on some information, I guess, from the county, from the local road safety program. And I believe we got denied on the grant, so we just have to decide if we're going to reapply, and that's going to come at a later time. Dredging, anything on that, Commissioner?
No, Francine took over for Connie's spot, so we're moving forward with, our next meeting's not until March, so hopefully we'll have some better news moving forward before March.
Okay. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure pre-county, just initially, we need to plan for the funding for that program because Cape May County is coming in, and so from New Jersey to Rambler Road, that is a county roadway. We've been working with County Engineer Bob Church to, their plan is to skinny up the street and beautify it. At the same time, that is where the borough also does potentially its 6 blocks of a business district. However, the infrastructure in the ground, that belongs to Wildwood Crest, so that part has to come first before the county comes in and does their project. So we are working through those details, and we'll have more of that shortly. Public Works roof, Mr. Ebner, I'm thinking we're about 70% done down there. We're real close. They're getting ready to do some insulation work, so they should be wrapped up by the end of January down there. Bayside Off-Falls, the South State, the contractor, will be remobilizing starting January the 6th. They didn't want to inconvenience anyone with the project. Those folks that are in the Bulkhead West Side area. Washington Seaview Beach outfall lines, we're just waiting to hear back from whether or not we received the grant from FEMA, and also with the help of Congressman Van Drew and Senator Booker. All right, so that wraps up under the old business. I do have one comment I want to make. There's been a lot of news coverage with respect to this Army Corps and the DEP Dune. Just to go back, because it was at the end of the last meeting that we had briefed the public. I just want to let everyone know that Wildwood Crest officially sent a letter to the DEP and to the Army Corps opposing the projects, and we listed a number of reasons. There was a follow-up meeting at the convention center with the DEP and the Army Corps, where we went also on the record verbally, basically summarizing the letter that we had sent. We anticipate a meeting to come in January, but I think the key points that the public needs to be aware of is why we're taking the opposing position is because of the concern with respect to shortening the width of our beach. You know, our beaches are beautiful, they're wide, they're spacious, and when you start engineering it as such where it could shrink it, that could cause some problems. There's some breaches in the system, there's ADA accessibility issues, there's long-term costs to the borough, there's all this that we had touched on in the letter and in the meeting. So I just wanted everyone to be, full disclosure, aware. We're hoping for another meeting with the DEP and the Army Corps to see if any of our concerns can be addressed. If not, they have been officially put on notice that Wildwood Crest is opposed to the project. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and email, and be happy to get you anything that you need. Okay, that brings us to the last round of public comments. We'll go right here to the right to anybody here in the public. Anybody?
Yep.
Hi, Mike Marino. During our last commissioner meeting, the Public Safety Commissioner challenged my analysis of the public safety expenses. During his term of office of less than 3 years, the Commissioner asked if I considered inflation during the Public Safety Department analysis. My answer to that is no. I did not take inflation into account during the analysis of your excessive spending of $14.8 million on expenses in your departments for the time frame of January 2022 through November 7th, 2024. 2 years, 10 months, 7 days. I did the same for all other 12 years, including the 2 other public commissioner terms. All terms experienced inflation. The second question from the Public Safety Commissioner is, did I experience inflation in my house? My answer to that question is yes. I did experience inflation, so what I did is take steps to keep my expenses down. For example, I cut out things that weren't necessary, such as a gym membership. Another example is I did not, instead of replacing a car, I kept it 2 years longer. Okay, so Commissioner, when you noticed inflation, did you take any actions as an elected official to keep expenses down for your departments within public safety? Inflation was over several years. You're the gatekeeper, you request a yearly budget, and you're in charge of contracts and services. So, this is why, the meeting before, I had asked a question. Will you be hiring November 8th through December 31st of 2025, and that's November of 2024, any new staff? You answered no. I also asked if you're going to be constructing any new buildings or doing renovations. You answered no to both. I hope you're going to honor that, okay? So, my only question to you today is, what did you do to keep the residents of Wildwood Crest from a cost perspective? How did you help them? How did you alter anything in the future or current decisions and strategies over your last year in service? You still have time as a public safety commissioner, and you can reduce spending and keep costs down now and in the future for things like taxes. Many of our residents are on fixed incomes and can use a break from higher expenses. Do the right thing and lower your expenses in public safety during your last year. You do not need to keep spending the taxpayers' money at a rate of 33% as you did during the first 3 years. You do not need to spend over $5 million yearly in expenses to run public safety as you did in the last year. Can you answer that question?
Yes, and thank you for your comments. First off, the big savings that we have, and hopefully we'll see them past my time, is our fleet. I believe there was a question about how many cars and all this other equipment that we're running. We are now in a lease program instead of a purchase program, and we're hoping to experience savings there. So that was one step. That was through the help of the captain of the police department and also Francine Springer. We decided that we were going to do it that way instead of purchasing cars. That's one thing right there. The rest we'll look at and I will take under consideration, and I hear your points, and I agree with them. So let's see moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Public comments? Anybody here in the audience? We'll ask anybody on the conference line for any public comments. Okay, we'll go right to commissioner comments.
Just wish everybody a happy new year, healthy new year. That's all I have.
Same for me. Happy New Year. Welcome to the new year. Let's have a good time. Thank you to all my departments and also all the departments that work for the borough. Everybody's doing a really great job. Thank you.
And this is the last reorganizational meeting for this governing body. As we head into the last year of our term, there is a municipal election here in November. As we move forward with professional services and the appointments that we've made here today, I just want the public to be comfortable knowing that, these professional services are constantly under scrutiny and/or performance, and we would not have them on the agenda if they weren't working in the benefits of Wildwood Crest. However, as a new administration may move in, there might be changes in the future. There might be RFPs that'll get sent out, but not right now. There's so many projects, and it's like a well-oiled machine. You have to keep things going because you have time invested and money invested in professional services that you need to carry on into the new year. So that said, I just wanted to certainly compliment all of our professional services for their due diligence and their hard work for Wildwood Crest. I want to thank our governing body members and also all of our staff in Wildwood Crest. Let's make 2025 a great year, and let's move forward. And I'm sorry to see, as I look down to my left, Connie Mann not here. It's going to take me a while to get used to that because she was such a valuable resource for this community, than one that I'm not sure will ever be replaced. That said, I wish you all a happy new year. Thank you for coming out, and we'll see you on January 22nd.
Can I get a motion?
Motion?